cheddar apple galette. A galette is essentially like an open pie, and it's, you like flatten out your pie crust, put fruit and stuff in the middle, loosely fold the pie crust ends in, and you just put it on a pan and put it in the oven. So it's like an informal pie, looks all cute and informal, you know, kind of like willy-nilly, like I didn't even try, it's great. So we're gonna do that. You can use pre-made pie crust, it works just fine, but we're gonna be adding cheddar into it. So if you use pre-made pie crust, you're just going to want to like mix in some shredded sharp cheddar cheese. And if you make your own, it's really easy to use a food processor. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Let's go ahead and read through our recipe because that's always fun. So it looks like this, so cute. And it has a picture of it on the back, but I'm hoping ours looks better than this because I have a vision, okay? So our instructions are, heat oven to 400 degrees in a large bowl with a fork, toss together pie crust mix, half a cup of cheese with the apple juice, shape into a ball, roll out on a floured surface into a 14-inch circle, roll pastry back onto rolling pin, unroll onto a large baking sheet. Then, in a large bowl, toss together half a cup of shredded cheddar, apple, sugar, cornstarch, and nutmeg, set aside. Sprinkle remaining half cup cheddar cheese onto center of crust, leaving a 3-inch border. Mound apple mixture on top of cheese. Fold edge of crust and part way over filling. Fold edge of crust up and part way over the filling. Brush each crust with egg yolk. Bake galette at 400 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes until crust is lightly brown and apples are tender. Cut into wedges and serve slightly warm or at room temperature. Excellent. We're modifying a bit. I didn't put apple juice in my crust because I don't want it in there. I feel like it's going to make it burn. We're also not going to be putting cornstarch with our apples because I don't have any. And I'm also going to substitute nutmeg for lemon juice because I want it to be like brighter and lighter and not heavy, which I don't think will make the biggest difference, but that's how I want to do it. So that's what we're going to do. So you're going to want to get started, preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and make your pie crust. In our food processor, we have 2.5 cups of flour, and then we're just gonna be slowly adding in. I have 1 cup of cold, like chopped up butter into pieces. So we're gonna add in our butter. Then we're going to add in 6 to 8 tablespoons of ice water. So we're gonna scoop it out of here, and then we're just gonna add about a teaspoon of sugar. Let's roll. Okay, so this texture is looking really good. I'll show you. You want it to pinch together with your finger. So you take a little clump and it crumbles, which is great. And then we're gonna add in our 6 to 8 tablespoons of water. So what you want is when you pick it up to measure how much water you're gonna add, you just want it to squish in your finger. And that's it. Like, it doesn't need to fully form or fully make a ball in here, just squish. And you don't wanna over mix it. Oh, also, I'm using salted butter because that's all I had. But if you use unsalted butter, you're gonna need to add, I don't know, a couple teaspoons of salt. Now our pie crust, you just take a little piece, it squishes, stays firm, and it looks, you know, like pie crust. So that's good to go. Oh, I forgot to add any sugar. We got to add our sugar. To roll out our pie crust and add in our cheddar cheese. I'm gonna be adding somewhere between 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup. You just want to incorporate it in so it just, you know, mixes in well. We should probably add a little flour. Oh, by the way, I found this recipe in one of my grandma's little recipe cuttings, and I believe it's from a magazine. It doesn't have any clues as to what it's from. Oh, also, preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Yeah, so that's what we'll be using once we actually finish making our crust, because the recipe is just a pre-made crust. But I forgot to buy one of those, so we're making ours. Got our cheese on here. We're just going to start to mush together. I suspect I may need to add 1 teaspoon of water, but I'm just going to start incorporating it together and see what happens. Looks excellent, by the way. And you don't want it to warm it up too much with your hands because you want the butter to stay buttery, which is what makes your flaky crust. So we're just going to roll it out. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're just going to roll the edges, fold the edges up anyway when we fold it into our galette shape. So just roll it out in the shape that feels right to you. I'm thinking I may go more of like a square route. See, look how good our cheddar looks in there. And I'm thinking we want it to be, I don't know, thin-ish, but not paper thin. And I put my silicone mat into here so I can just flip it onto my baking sheet. I'm going to go ahead and spray this with Pam. I have foil lined mine because one time I made a galette and I didn't close up the edges all the way, so like all the fruit juice leaked out, and it's really hard to clean like the fruit sugary mixture off once you bake it off of your pan. So I'm, covering all my bases this time because I don't want to have to do that. Oh, we have separated a wee bit. That's fine. Couldn't have been better. We're just going to stick this back on here. And if you ended up making it a little bit bigger than your pan, that's fine because we're folding the edges in anyway. This looks good. I'm going to set this to the side. And now we're going to make our filling. We're going to start. We want our apples to look like this. They're like thinly cut apples. I'm using, I think these are called Opal apples because I like the color. I think they look very fall. And I also think they're good baking apples because they're not super juicy, so they're not going to like destroy your filling. So that's what I'm using. I cut up 3. I've cut up 3 apples, and this is like, I'm going to show you exactly how I cut them if you would like to do them the exact same way. So we'll just dump the ones I've cut already in our bowl. Then, okay, so this is how I cut them. This is how I cut them. So I just cut off, take off the sticker. Great. You cut them off each quarter around the core. The recipe says you should core your apple, blah, blah, blah. We're considering this coring, okay? Then I just took each part. I learned, I'm trying to do cutting the correct way, so you put your fingers like this, and then you just cut them into small little slices. And I found, so I'm using a little serrated knife, and it works really well for this kind of cutting because you can cut both forward and when you pull back. So it's like double duty, you can go a lot faster. And I like the way it sounds because it goes ch-ch. So we'll just plop those in there. The recipe says we need 4 apples, which seems like a lot for the filling. But my favorite part that I'm really looking forward to is I want to line up the little apples in rows. And then when we fold it over our crust, it's going to look beautiful and delicious. And we really hope we can accomplish the vision. I think we can do it. We have a lot of free time, so we might as well line up our apples so they look nice. Otherwise, I have seen you can just dump them in, but people don't care. Woohoo! Okay, great. Now we're going to add in, gonna cut this in half. I'm just gonna add in half a lemon juice. The juice of half a lemon. just gonna give them a summary.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Because I don't think I can take it apart.
Why don't you do it over as much as you can? Like, what if you pull it up towards you and then over it and just kind of point it out with your fingers, kind of do the over thing. And try to point how you did it.
What is?
You know what I mean? Like an overhead shot. You bring that up, overhead it, and then kind of use your fingers to point. So your face is just your fingers.
But there's no, it's just one thing.
I know, you can show how you just split it.
But all they miss out is chop these up into little pieces.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a great idea because it's a little farther, so I can get right nice and up and close. You want to bring it up?
I forgot to put the light on.
It's okay, I got it.
So somehow we ended up not recording part of this. But the moral of the story is we rolled out our dough. Then we added on our remaining cheddar cheese sprinkled on top. And then on the side, in a separate mixing bowl, we added our 4 sliced up apples. We added 1/3 cup of sugar, and we added the juice of half of a lemon. And then we mixed that up with our hand, and we layered them in 4 rows, kind of in a rustic style, with the thin apples, kind of the peels all facing one way, so it looks, you know, like organized chaos. And then after that, we folded up the edges of our pie dough around the side, and it's supposed to be uneven. That's what we're going for. So nothing's wrong with yours if it looks like mine. And then we used an egg wash on the sides with our little painting brush. And in our egg wash, I did 1 egg yolk with just a little splash of water, so it's not very thick. And now that that's all prepared, we're gonna put it in our oven for 35 to 40 minutes at 400 degrees. Okay, our galette is out of the oven and I'm very excited. Let's cut out a piece and then maybe we can get like a cheese pull. Maybe not, but never hurts to try. Okay, I don't know how to cut it. Ooh, it's so soft and tender. Oh, just so you know, your crust should be crispy brown, crispy brown. And your apple should be fork tender. Okay, no cheese pull, but it does look delicious. Okay, now that we just dropped a whole bunch, it's okay, my dogs are eating it, they like it. Let's taste it. That was very good. You should also make it. I hope you enjoy.